Alright, so center X, top left target, this will be target 5. Wind got me there. Again, come on now. Better. Here comes the wind. Straight left flyer, come on. You need that then. Come on. Man, I've seen this in my other guns before. At least this lot of center, just absolutely through dead out flyers. Alright, semi-auto precision bench rest. You can see that's a lot. Target number 1 for the 1022, right by the camera too. That was a flyer.
You might have to.
Welcome in from the range. This is actually the next day. I was so exhausted after shooting this. I shot right till dark. I just set the things down and decided to come in and sit at the bench the next day and score them up. So I want to start by showing you the cider target. Now, the reason this is important is I just put on a brand new Lilja barrel on this CZ457. And so I had to run some rounds to it, and every time I switched brands of ammunition and types, I ran fouling rounds, things to get it to settle down, and once it seemed like it was okay, then we shot our All Guts No Glory targets, and a lot of them. I shot a lot of ammo. I mean, man, this was expensive. But I wanted to see, one, what this new barrel and gun was going to do, and two, then have some fun and see how good I could do at the last minute here on our All Guts No Glory challenge. But I wanted to take a look at some of these targets here. Now, let's start by looking at the CZ457. Of note, SK Standard Plus. Now you can see that, 0.209. That is awesome. That's the best this gun has ever done, but of course it wasn't with the Lilja barrel. So we see a good improvement already. And of course these are just where I'm fouling it in, and then it started to group. So I fouled in a few here and got my sights roughly on target. So when I first shot this with a new barrel, it went from a center hold of here to hitting up here. And that's where those two bullets came from. So anyway, I had to bring it back down, get it close, then it started to group, and then I shot that. So SK Standard Plus. Now, will it do this in every single round? No, it's not going to. It's just not as expensive an ammo, but it is, I think, a very good value. So we'll be shooting more of that. Then we look at SK Long Range. SK Long Range has been a consistently good performer in my 1022 and in the CZ457 factory barrel. Well, look what it's doing here in the Lilja barrel, 0.355. That's pretty awesome. Here was the first fouling rounds with it, and then 0.355 and 0.365 to back it up. So SK Long Range is a very consistent performer, and that's what I'll be using in our All-22 competition. Until I run out. Hopefully I can get some more of that. So then we move on up here to SK Rifle Match. Now, SK Rifle Match was a bit of an odd ball here. It was shooting incredibly good. I mean, I shot the first bullet here, the second went there, and I was just ticked off because I knew it was a flyer, a bad flyer. And then the next three are right through the same hole. So I gave you the numbers here. The 5-shot group is a 537. I mean, it's not bad, but look what a 4-shot group is. 0.154. I mean, it's just amazing. And so I shot it again. I thought, okay, let's do it again. I had another one fly. Now, I felt this was a flyer, but going straight left like that, it could be me jerking on the trigger, a little sideways pressure with my hand. You know, there's a lot of different reasons it could do that. But look at those four. So again, we have a 404 5-shot group and a 140 4-shot group. Just absolutely amazing. Now, before we look at these two targets, I want to show you these last two. Now, this is Center X in the same gun, a .295 and a .317. That is also really good. So Center X is a contender. Now, the problem is when I shot the actual target in the contest, Center X wouldn't do 10 like this. It would throw a flyer up here and there. So it's still a really good ammunition, but it might be a half MOA, at least a lot that I have, or half-inch groups in the lot that I have. So I think it's definitely worth continuing to test with Center X. And a lot of people have had some really good results. Now, take a look at this final one. The Green Mountain 1022 is a 24-inch Green Mountain barrel, and the custom 1022 is on the channel, shooting Ely semi-automatic bench rest, or Sabre rounds. A 108. This is the best I've ever shot with a 22, and this is a semi-auto. Just crazy good. So, shot it again, except I only had just enough rounds to shoot the target, and to shoot 5 here and 3 here. And so it backed itself up here at 174 for the 3-shot groups. But a 108 5-inch 5-shot group. I just can't believe it. It's pretty awesome. So anyway, these targets are great. Now, it didn't always translate to the actual contest targets. There's some good targets out there, but like this and this, you should be able to just clean the targets. But I'm fighting wind and some other things that kicked up during this process. And some of this, you know, like this one, I don't think is wind. Anything that's to the right It's definitely the wind, because it was gusting pretty good, and it was I was trying to compensate for it during all of this. But just amazing. So the Lilja barrel, for being brand new, is doing really good, really good. I mean, a 209 is his best 5-shot group, but Green Mountain, holy cow, a 108. So anyway, let's take a look at our targets. So here is the SK. So the SK shot the 209, and this target was shooting pretty good. Now, you look here, I got 18 across the first row. Yeah, that's just okay. 38 is really not so good on this one, but I'm just really not missing by much. It's just you get a big penalty here. You put these all in the same group, and again, that's a pretty tight 10-shot or 9-shot here group. But I only get 38 points because they fell out. But look at this. This is the highest I've ever done on this third row. 10, 10, and I fell off and got a 5. I mean, 75 points. I couldn't believe it. So that was awesome. And then what happened? Yeah, well, that's why we have this big does not count. I thought this was going to be close enough, but I just kind of knew it wasn't going to be. And sure enough, that one cost me. Otherwise, that is a really good target for a cheap ammunition. So that's that. So now let's take a look at some others before we get to the absolutely best ones that we're going to turn in. So Elijah, you see this video, don't count these targets. I've got so many, I don't want to, man, you'd be typing all afternoon. So here is the CZ457 SK rifle match, which shot those really good groups, but had one out every time, right? The 4-shot groups were amazing. Well, a similar trend. In this one, I have just no clue. I mean, it just took off straight dead out flyer. And then you say, okay, an 8, that's really close. It's really close. And a 7, so I'm kind of okay with that. And then a 5, and then a 6, and then a 10. These going straight left, it's like, I don't know. It could be me and the trigger. It's hard to say. Can't blame anything else there. Then these are the ones where they just really count you, because they really hurt you because the targets are getting so small. 6, 6, and 5. You put those all together and they're all touching. But because of that, then it's 17, so you get a 51, and then 10 and 10, so 132. I mean, it's not bad, but we're going to have a lot better target to turn in with this gun. So move on up to SK long range now. So that was rifle match. Now here's long range. And so long range isn't doing so bad. First row was pretty respectable. You know, it's okay, 23. And then second row, I lost a few points, a 10. This is, you know, you take a rough penalty. But, you know, any of these are questionable, I should say, by the way. I plug gauged, and I didn't move the plug around trying to cheat. I just plugged them and see what they were, because that's the only way you know what the real outside diameter is. You just slide it through there. It's got a lead-in taper and to the diameter, and as long as you don't deliberately try to force one way, it's a very accurate way to check it. So 6, 10, and a 7, so we end up at 46 here. This row really hurt, though. 5, 5, 5. Yeah, it's like, it's close, but it's a 5. It's clearly a 5, clearly a 5. 45 and 10, so 134. Respectable, but again, still not good enough. Now we move into the second SK long range target and do a little bit better here. 6, 7, and 10 for 23. And then a little higher scores, but still not that great for this row. And then, again, not so great for this row, 54, so we end up with a 141. Not bad, but not good enough. And then here's the 1022, shooting the Ely Saber. As good as those groups were, it's like, it was pretty good here, but it's just the difficulty of this target. If you haven't shot this, man, I'm telling you, this is a tough target. So this one down and low and left, probably me. It's not the win. These that got pushed here to the right just a little bit, those are probably the win. It's that one too. But still, you put these all together with the exception of that one, and that is another one of those little bug hole groups. Well, that one and this one. But, you know, so not too bad a scoring, 131. And so this is the best that the 1022 has done so far, so I will turn this one in. So now let's take a look at the best targets that I shot. Ely 10X. Now you would expect an awful lot from this ammo. It was shooting decently. The thing I noticed when you look at extreme spreads and standard deviations is the 10X is consistently at 5 to 5.3 standard deviation, sorry. 5 to 5.3 standard deviation. So that's pretty good. And the results were okay, but I just had, for this kind of ammo, this dead up flyer. I mean, it's like, I have no idea what that's about. Otherwise, you put these all together, and those are really pretty good groups, right? You have put them all together, but only a 114, so that's no good. Well, since I was really committed on this ammo, I shot 4 targets of 10X. And here we did okay, did 21, really bad, just because of the way it fell off and caught the 6 rings, right? You throw these all together, and this is a tiny little bug hole group that's all within that diameter. But like I say, it's the difficulty of the target, so only 38. Now here we made up a little bit of ground, but not great. We got a 57, and so we ended up with 136 on that one. Third target, not really any better, pretty similar, 127. Fourth target, and this is one we will turn in for 10X. It's got a 10, an 8, and a 10 on the front row, top row. That's the best first row I've done, so that's good. Second row, though, I lost a lot of points with these 5s. They kill you, and so only 40 points there, and then a pretty typical score for me in the third row. Those 6s just killed me. That, again, you put them together, those are tiny little groups. But you add them all up, 142. So we keep moving on to Center X. Now, Center X shot pretty good on the top row. I showed you those cider targets. And still, again, it's the same kind of thing. It's shooting really tiny little groups up here. So a 28 now. So that's, again, a really good score in that first row. It ties my best score there for that first row. But the second row absolutely killed me. 6, 6, and a 5. I mean, you can't recover from that. And then, well, I had continued that with the third row, which really kills you when you have a 3x multiplier. So it's only a 124, so that's no good. But I shot 2 targets of Center X. And so this is the best we'll do on this contest this year anyway. And so start off with 7s and 6 and 6, a real typical score, unfortunately, for me in that first row. A little better now on the second row, because I got 2 10s and an 8. So that's pretty close. That's pretty close to a perfect score. If I had gotten that in there, it was really close, but I couldn't count it. That little dot is still there, right, when you plug it. So 56 out of 60. So that's not too bad. But then this row, I mean, this could have been a really high score, but I threw 2 4s out there along with the 10. Anything else, and this would have been not at the top, but I've been in 160-ish probably range here. And then 10 and 10. So 149, that's the best I've done. Brand new barrel, Center X, and the CZ457. So I'm pretty happy. I shot a lot of ammo trying to figure out what this gun likes. So far, by the way, if you know the CZ and the Lilja barrels, this is set at 6,000 shim on there. And so we're going to start decreasing that a little bit, but that's where, at least on the bench, it was reliably extracting. And in the field, it extracted everything. There was no issue. So I'm going to bring those shims and thin them down a little bit and decrease the headspace and see where we go. Anyway, a lot of fun, a lot of shooting. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you, Elijah. Looking forward to the next one, and we'll catch y'all later.